In the history of human cruelty, few names evoke as much horror as Josef Mengele. To the world, he was known as the Angel of Death. But to the prisoners of Auschwitz, he was something far worse. He was a doctor, a man of science. Yet, within the walls of the Birkenau death camp, he turned healing into torture. His obsession? Twins, children, brothers, sisters, infants who had done nothing wrong, yet found themselves trapped in a nightmare of needles, surgery, and death. This is not a story of science. This is a story of sadism disguised as research. Today, we examine the verified historical record of Josef Mengele's twin experiments, the victims who survived, and the justice that never came. To understand the crimes, we must first understand the man. Josef Mengele arrived at Auschwitz in May 1943. He was 32 years old. He held a PhD in anthropology and a medical degree. He was intelligent, charismatic, and a devoted Nazi. Mengele was fascinated by genetics. He believed in the Nazi ideology of a master race. He wanted to prove that genetics determined everything, from behavior to physical traits, and he believed twins were the key to unlocking these secrets. When a transport of prisoners arrived at the ramp, Mengele would be there, watching, waiting. If he saw twins, he would step forward. He would separate them from their parents. They were spared the gas chambers, but only to enter a different kind of hell. They were given extra food, clean sheets. They were told they were special, but this kindness was a trap. Inside the laboratory, the horror began. Mengele's experiments were not designed to heal. They were designed to observe pain and death. He injected chemicals into the eyes of children, trying to change their color. He performed surgeries without anesthesia. He deliberately infected one twin with disease to compare how the other died. If one twin died, the other was often killed immediately. Mengele wanted to perform autopsies while the bodies were still fresh. He wanted to compare their organs side by side. Survivors describe the sound of the clinic, the screams, the smell of blood and antiseptic. And through it all, Mengele remained calm. He would smile. He would whistle. To him, these children were not human. They were specimens. It is estimated that over 1,500 twin pairs were subjected to these experiments. Fewer than 300 survived. Among the survivors were 10-year-old twins, Ava and Miriam Mozes. They arrived at Auschwitz in 1944. They were separated from their parents immediately, and soon they were taken to Mengele's clinic. Ava later recalled, "We were like guinea pigs. We never knew what he would do next." During one injection, Ava became severely ill. Mengele told her she had only 2 weeks to live. He prepared to autopsy her. But Miriam refused to let her sister die. She smuggled water to Eva. She stayed by her side, and somehow Eva survived. When the Soviet army liberated Auschwitz in 1945, the twins were among the few children left standing. But Miriam's life was forever changed. The experiments damaged her kidneys. She suffered for the rest of her life. Decades later, Eva Mozes Kor became a powerful voice for Holocaust education. She founded the Candles Museum to teach the world about the twins of Auschwitz. She spoke of forgiveness, not for Mengele's sake, but for her own peace. But forgiveness did not bring justice. As the war ended, Mengele vanished. He was captured by American troops, but they did not recognize him. He was released. Using false papers, he fled to South America. He lived in Argentina, then Paraguay, then Brazil. He was hunted by Nazi hunters, by the Israeli Mossad, by survivors like Eva, but he was never caught. In 1979, while swimming off the coast of Brazil, Josef Mengele suffered a stroke. He drowned. He was buried under a fake name. It was only years later that his remains were identified. The angel of death had died a free man. Today, the data from Mengele's experiments is considered scientifically worthless. It was poorly recorded, it was biased, and it was born from evil. Most medical journals refuse to cite his work. To use it would be to honor the suffering of his victims. The story of Mengele's twins is a warning. It reminds us that science without ethics is dangerous. It reminds us that bureaucracy can enable murder. And it reminds us to remember the names, not just the killer, but the children, Eva, Miriam, and the hundreds who never made it home. If you found this historical documentary important, please like this video and subscribe. We are dedicated to uncovering the truth about World War II's darkest chapters. Check out our previous video on Unit 731, Japan's secret biological warfare unit. The link is on the screen now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for remembering.